Hello everyone. I am back once again, and this is going to be vlog number 9. I'm going to talk about some new things that are yet to come in the new year, and considering it's the middle of November, the new year ain't that far off. So I'm going to talk about a couple things coming up, and this is also going to cover a little question and answer session I posted about 4 or 5 days ago. Asked you guys to give me some questions, ask some questions that you wanted answered. Some of you left them in comments, some of you messaged them to me. Thank you to everyone who contributed, so we're going to cover that as well. Before I get to that, the things that I have coming up. In the new year, I am going to start, keep doing vlogs, but I'm going to do a vlog like most likely every other Tuesday. It's going to be called Coffee Talk Tuesdays, and this is the experimental phase filming because we are now sitting in my living room. So very down home on a Friday night, have my glasses on because yeah, for the most part I'm really blind, so I don't wear contact lenses other than the ones that I wear in my tutorials, but just when I watch TV and so on and so forth, yeah, I have to wear glasses, otherwise it's going to be this. So, my Coffee Talk Tuesdays is basically going to be covering a vlog, but I'm going to film out here in the living room. And those of you who know me best and even watch my tutorials and my vlogs know that I am known notoriously for having that mug of coffee in more than one, and coffee is an everyday thing for me, so there you go. I figured incorporate it into the vlogs. I'm also going to try and bring in a couple friends of mine that, just friends of mine that, you know what, I admire their talent, and I think that it would be really cool to have them sit in to talk about what they do and so on and so forth. So there is one that I've asked so far, and as soon as her schedule is freed up, she agreed. So, thank you. I'm not going to give away who it is yet, though. So that's coming up in the new year. Also, I ordered my awesome taper and plug kit today. For those of you who don't know what tapers are, they're little, they look like little spikes, because I'm going to be stretching my ears. I got a nifty new pair of like rainbow hologram horseshoe earrings, but they're a 10 gauge. And right now, in my first hole, this is about a 14, so gotta stretch the ears a little bit. I'm going to be doing that, and I'm going to share it with you guys, the journey of stretching my ears, much as I have shared with you the journey of my extensions. So, there you go. So those are a few things coming up. Like I said, Coffee Talk Tuesday is going to be in the new year. I'm going to be stretching my ears, oh gosh. The taper kit should be here by Tuesday, so most likely this upcoming week, if not the week after, because I also ordered some stretching balm and so on and so forth, some things to help the process along the way. So I will take you guys through the whole ear stretching process. I'm not planning on going any bigger than a 10, so not planning on it. Now everybody says, you know, you say that now, but stretching your ears gets addicting. I'm not going to have like these huge soup can holes in my ears, but there's only a few brave souls that I know that have their ears that big. But it's just not, I'm not saying that if that's their thing, awesome, but it's just not conventional for me. The biggest I would go is like a 0 gauge, but I'm not planning on going any bigger than a 10. And with piercings, with gauges, it's backwards, because the lower the number, the bigger the gauge, the higher the number, the smaller the gauge. Just a little fun gauge fact for you. So, I do have 2 tutorials I have yet to film. I apologize for them being a little late. I have Obscene Jester, and then I have another one after that coming up. I'm going to be doing the graveyard statue tutorial, so that should be cool. It's just been a really busy week. There's a lot of things in transition right now, So I haven't had the time to actually commit to doing a tutorial. And if I'm going to sit there and do a tutorial, it's not going to be half-assed. I have to be 100% able to put my full energy into doing that tutorial. So hence why I have not done them yet, but I will very soon. Excuse me. Hopefully I will get Obscene Jester filmed tomorrow. That's another thing that I'm going to do. I've noticed that when I post about on my page, or I say that I'm going to be back this certain day to do a tutorial, something always happens. Just I get overloaded with work, and by the end of the day I don't have the time to film the tutorial. But when I don't post about it and I just decide, okay, here's the day I'm going to do the tutorial, the tutorial bug bites me in the ass, and I'm like, okay, time to do it. So basically what's going to happen, I'm going to start doing tutorials twice a week, but you're not going to know the day. The pictures will be posted on my Facebook page, and then they'll be like, ah, she filmed it. So there you go. I'm going to try that for a while and see if that works out better. So those are just a few things to come, and I, of course, as always, will keep you guys updated. So without further ado, let's get down to the question and answers. So we're going to take it away. Okay, I don't really have an absolute all-time favorite makeup per se. I can give you some of my favorites. I think like my top 4 would be I like Ben Nye, I like Kryolan, I like Graftobian, and I like e.l.f. A lot of people think, I just want to talk about e.l.f. cosmetics for a minute. A lot of people think because it's inexpensive that it's shitty makeup, which is quite the opposite. I've been using e.l.f. for quite a while now. I've never been disappointed with any of the e.l.f. products that I've used. I use the HD powder and translucent for a lot of my tutorials, so that's an all-time fave. As far as the other 3, those lines carry a lot of the special effects type makeup. I love the Graftobian blood paste. I own it. I use it in a ton of tutorials. It's like a tried and true product that I absolutely love. Kryolan has really good pigments and so on and so forth, and just Ben Nye has a nose and scar wax, so those are like 4 tried and true that I absolutely love. I also like BH Cosmetics. I have several of their palettes, and their eyeshadows and their lip colors work extremely well for me. Let's see. I like MAC. I like Sugar Pill. I like a lot of them, so I can't, it's really difficult for me to pick like one favorite brand, but those are just some. So I hope that answers a question for you. Another thing that I want to mention is that I can't, unfortunately, name the people or person who ask these questions, because a lot of you ask the same questions, just kind of like in a different form. So this is just a general overall. So I don't want anybody to get offended like, she didn't mention my name. So no, I'm sorry. And some of you might not want your names mentioned, but I'm just throwing that out there. So, as I said, favorite brand, I don't have exactly like one fave, but those are some of them. So I hope that answered that one for you. So moving on to question number 2. It's a good question. I actually didn't really start getting heavily into makeup artistry until about mid-2010, early 2011, about that time frame. I just didn't realize, I've always liked makeup. I actually experimented a lot more with hair color before I got into makeup, so kind of had a passion for changing the hair color and mixing the different colors, like to see, okay, if I mix this one and this one, what color would it be? As far as makeup though, yeah, it was definitely later years. I do kind of regret that I didn't get into makeup artistry sooner, but I'm grateful that I've had a lot of the opportunities that I've had as far as makeup. I've had a lot of opportunities to go to workshops and to watch and learn and so on and so forth. So I still have a lot more to expand on, but yeah, it's definitely, you know, a niche that I didn't know that I had until later on. Sometimes you'll have a passion for one thing and then it'll change. So I wasn't expecting it, but I just got heavily into makeup. So yeah, it was definitely in later years, but I'm happy about it. You know what, better late than never, and I guess it's never too late. So how do you know if you don't try, right? So there you go. That's about the best way that I can answer that. So I'm sorry if it's a short answer, but there you go. So hope it answers it for you. On to question number 3. When it comes to makeup products, I think that I basically have the theory that if it works for you, then I'm not going to knock it. Some things work better for some than for others. There are a couple that personally, though, I would not recommend due to the bad experiences that I've had with them. And fortunately, though, it's only been a couple of them. When it comes to gel eyeliner, I prefer L'Oreal. The L'Oreal gel liner in black. I ran out of the L'Oreal, so I tried the Maybelline, and I can't stand it. I haven't had it for that long. Oh, and by the way, the background noise that you hear, we have cats, and that's one of our cats sneezing. So if any of the critters make an appearance running behind me, I just want you to know that we do have furry ones. So that was one of the furry ones sneezing. So sorry about that break, but you're probably thinking, what the hell is that noise in the background? It's like, is she sneezing by osmosis? No, that's one of our cats. But the Maybelline, I just noticed I hadn't had it for that long, and it's just, I don't like dipping my brush into it and having to wipe the brush off because I don't put a lot of pressure on the brush when I dip it into the gel eyeliner pots. But it's just like the clumpiest, nastiest shit, and I have to, you know, swipe the brush off a couple times. It just doesn't, and it still doesn't give me that really nice, dark, black, fine line. I have to go back in and do it a couple times, and like I said, it clumps up a lot. And I've also noticed that, like I said, I haven't had the Maybelline gel eyeliner pot for that long, but it's getting really dry. So it's just not my all-time fave. I wouldn't recommend it. It's kind of a pain in the ass when it comes to doing tutorials because you don't want to have to keep dipping it in and keep dipping it in the gel eyeliner, your brush. But I do, and it's frustrating. It takes more time, but it is what it is. Something that I tried, it just didn't work for me. If you've tried it and it works for you, hey, you know what? All the more power to you. But that's one that I wouldn't recommend personally. Another one that I wouldn't recommend is, of course, Wet n Wild makeup. It's inexpensive makeup, and it's really inexpensive, and this is a makeup that is inexpensive for a reason, because for the most part I think it's crap. The pencil eyeliners and lip liners, you're basically having to like grind into your face to get them to stick. The lipsticks clump. I experimented with Wet n Wild a long time ago, and on a whim I needed a black eyeliner pencil, so I grabbed one by Wet n Wild. They were like 99 cents, so I grabbed one, and it did not, had to keep resharpening it. The tip didn't stay sharp. The color distribution was crap. So those, I would say, are like the two that I personally, would not recommend. And like I said, I'm fortunate that so far it's only those two. I've tried a lot of makeup, experimented with a lot of makeup, tried a lot of things I've never tried before, and I'm thankful to only have 2 that I wouldn't recommend. So those are my 2. So you know what? Be careful, especially if it's a matter of time consumption. Don't use the freaking Maybelline gel liner. Don't use the Wet n Wild because it's not the best makeup in the world, and it's also not that great for your skin. So there you go. Actually, yes, but surprisingly enough, or possibly surprisingly enough to some of you, it's not a makeup product, it's a hair product. Okay, I've been, like I said, experimenting with the hair dye for a long time. And my all-time favorite hair dye is, of course, Special Effects. I love Special Effects. I like Manic Panic. I mix Manic Panic and Special Effects together sometimes. As a matter of fact, with my current hair color, this is actually a mix of Deep Purple by Special Effects and Raven by Manic Panic. Now, the regular Manic Panic, just in the jar, works fantastic for me. I've never had a problem with it. I tried the Manic Panic Amplified. Okay, it's supposed to last a lot longer, so I'm thinking that it would have lasted as long as Special Effects, because Special Effects hair dye does tend to last a long time as far as fading and so on and so forth. You don't have to touch up your hair after you wash it 2 times. So I was thinking, oh, excuse me, that the Amplified would be the same case or somewhat, because it had gotten really rave reviews. So I tried it. In about January of this year, I dyed my hair Rockabilly Blue and Atomic Turquoise by Manic Panic Amplified. And you know what? For me, total thumbs down. Didn't live up to my expectations at all. Made my hair feel really brittle. Just brittle. And I didn't like, I mean, it kind of just felt gross. And the color distribution, the first day or 2 that it was on my hair was really bold, and I liked the color, but then, I don't know, it just, I mean, it faded. It faded really fast, and it faded into like a really nasty, just, and I was disappointed, because at $14 a bottle, which granted, there's hair dyes that are more expensive, but at $14 a bottle for the Amplified, I mean, you're thinking that, okay, it's going to last you a while. So I was thinking, and I mean, the length of my hair, as you know, these are tape and extensions, but the length of my hair was a lot shorter, so I didn't have to use a lot of hair dye, or so I thought. But then again, I ended up having to use a lot of it because I was constantly touching it up. I was touching it up like every week and a half, because the hair dye just didn't like my hair. So yeah, I was disappointed. It didn't live up to my expectations. So the Manic Panic Amplified is something that I wouldn't use again. Perfectly happy with like the regular Manic Panic, and of course, like I said, my go-to hair dye is, Special Effects. So there you go. I kind of have a feeling that this question was asked sarcastically or jokingly. Anyone who knows me knows, you know what? No, hell no, absolutely not. My 2 vices are my coffee and my cigarettes. So, gotta have both. And if I had to do without one, it would be the cigarettes, because I would still have to have the coffee. I am an incessant coffee drinker. I have to have it every morning. It is just, you know what, and you know what, those of you who want to sit there and freaking argue like, oh, it's a psychological thing, you know what, okay, fine, great, whatever, so call it a psychological thing, but to me, I gotta have that in my system, because if I don't have my coffee, it does not kick off my day. The whole day is just completely discombobbled, and I'm a grouchy bitch. So, absolutely not, no. Could I go without coffee for a week? No, no way. If somebody offered me $1 million to go without coffee for a week, my best suggestion would be like, okay, you know what, do I have to have contact with the outside world? Because I wouldn't want to put that on anybody else. So, most likely, no. I could not do without coffee for a week. There's no way. So, I love my coffee. Always have, and you know what? Most likely always will. There you go. That's a good question. A good question to ask. The answer would be no, and this is why. It's not that I can't do, I guess what you would call standard or glamour makeup. It's just the fact that, you know, as far as tutorials go, I don't want to. And the reason is because I know that I would get bored way too fast and I wouldn't want to do tutorials anymore. I think that when it comes to doing tutorials, the energy that you have comes from the enthusiasm you have doing the look or doing the character or what have you, and it definitely reflects when you film. So if I were, pardon me, to do just standard makeup, I would get bored way too fast. There's no limits to makeup anyway. So with horror makeup, I guess maybe I can understand why you asked the question, by all means, because it's like, yeah, that's my makeup of choice, the makeup that I prefer to do, especially as far as tutorials are concerned. But no, I don't feel like I'm limiting myself, because there's always going to be a different look for me to do. There's always going to be more products that I discover that I can use. There's always room to expand. So, you know what? There are no limits. So, you know what? Even though that's my makeup of choice, and yes, for tutorial-wise, absolutely, I solely do the horror type makeup. Halloween is all year round for me. But as far as limitations, nope, there are no limits. So just take it as far as it can go. There you go. Hope that answered it for you. Okay, my ideal job would definitely be if I could work for a special effects makeup company and do what I do my tutorials for a living. That would be my ideal job. I would be, you know what, that would be like dream beyond dream and just beyond awesome. I'd love to work for a special effects company like K&B Effects. They did From Dusk Till Dawn. They did the fight scene with the Crazy 88s and Kill Bill. I actually saw a documentary a few months back called The Nightmare Factory that went behind the scenes of K&B Effects. I would love to work for a company like that, but just, you know what, any special effects company, or even if I could do special effects makeup for, you know, smaller company, it doesn't matter, big or small, just to be able to do something like that for a living all the time, that would be my ideal job. And why? Because obviously I love that type of makeup. I love everything that goes into it, and there's so much that goes into the process of like a special effects look. I saw how they did, this wasn't in Nightmare Factory, of course, but I have seen how they've done Doug Bradley's makeup, and he plays Pinhead in Hellraiser, and it's amazing. So I think special effects makeup is the coolest thing, because you're taking a blank canvas and just completely changing it into something else. It can be more subdued, or it can be this complete, gory, like sinister creature as Pinhead that like becomes a horror icon. So I'd love to do something like that for a living. I love that type of makeup. I love everything that goes into it. So, love to have that opportunity. I don't, you know, hold my breath, so to speak, but also in the same instance, like I said, there's no limits to it, so the more you expand, it's just keep working at it. I'm going to keep working at it, and you know what? You never know where it'll go. You don't know what the future holds. It's just take it day by day and see what happens, but that would be my ideal job, and that's why. So, there you go. it's a combination of a lot of different things. I use music in my tutorials because I think, well, at this point right now anyways, I think that if I talked all the way through my tutorials, because I tend to over-explain things, and I know that I do, because I think, okay, better to over-explain than not explain enough, but my tutorials I think would be like 70 minutes long. So, that being said though, I center the music around the look. I kind of have everything tie into one another to have a theme. So it could be music, it could be a clip I saw of a movie, it could be just a picture of a makeup look I saw, or a photo that I saw that I think, you know what, that would make a really good tutorial, and then I'll start researching everything that goes into it, like, okay, what kind of face paint do I have to use, and how do I mix the colors, and so on and so forth. So it's any number of things. It's just also, you know what, excuse me, it could just also just be an idea that just pops into my head. I don't know exactly what, like, would inspire it, but I could just be staying there just, you know, and think, you know what, this would make a really good tutorial. I don't know, so much goes through my head, like, all the time. It's just, I don't know where it comes from sometimes. It's just, you know what, 13 million thoughts per second here, and I'm like, you know, I could be thinking about my shopping list, and then all of a sudden, oh, you know what, that would make a really good tutorial. You know what, So, like I said, it's any number of things, but I would say solely, like, the biggest influence, it's not any, like, one person per se. I'm inspired by a lot of people that I'm thankful to be friends with are very inspiring. As far as for the tutorials that I do, that would definitely, I'd say, music, movies. A good example is for my Halloween series, I did a tutorial called the Vindictive Ventriloquist Doll. That was inspired, of course, by the movie Dead Silence, because I think ventriloquist dolls are so creepy. And they're only, like, all those vintage dolls are really, carry an element of creepy with them, so I decided that, okay, something new that I want to try and pull off. So, it can be any number of things, but main influences, yeah, mostly music and probably, I would say, movies. So those are like the top two, but like I said, it could be any number of things, and like I said, one of them is just like a crazy idea that just pops into my head. So there's the answer to that one. You know, hope it answers it for you. Okay, this hits on definitely more of an emotional level for me. Okay, obviously anyone who, in one of my earlier vlogs I talked about my channel dedication and so on and so forth. One of the people that this channel is dedicated to is my father. And that is because my dad was just really accepting of, you know, the hair color and the piercings and the tattoos. And I mean, even though he wasn't, I mean, Dad, don't get me wrong, Dad was, you know, in a lot of ways really old-fashioned, but also I think, you know, and I know that he wasn't too happy about, okay, your youngest daughter's, like, you know, piercing herself all to be damned, because I used to have a lot more piercings. Like, the eyebrow was done, the nose was done, this was done, the tongue was done. I don't know if Dad knew about the tongue, no, because I think he probably would have freaked out about that one. Anyway, and like the changing hair color and so on and so forth. I mean, I don't think Dad was really too happy about it, but then, you know, when I got older, okay, first of all, I lost my dad 6 years ago. My dad passed away, and that was, really, that was hard. That was hard to deal with, because I did go through the process of kind of, you know, my dad, my dad had a bad heart, and kind of, hospice took over, and I knew Dad got really sick, and kind of just became less and less coherent. And I always thought of my father. My dad was like really a tower of strength. I looked up to my dad a lot. So that was a hard one to deal with when Dad passed away. But the memories that I have of Dad is, of my father, is that Dad was really accepting. When he realized that when I got older, you know what I mean? Like this is not a phase, it's just a form of how I express myself. It's a small facet of, my personality. So it really, as old-fashioned as Dad could be, just realized like, okay, you know what, this is her, and, she's not hurting anybody. There's a lot worse things that she could, be doing, and she's not. So if this is the worst. So Dad kind of started taking it on a humorous note, like, okay, well, so what color is your hair going to be when I see you next week? Is it going to be the same, or are you going to change it? So, yeah, that was good. That was awesome. My mother, because my mom tended to, it was weird. It's like, as my father got more accepting, my mother got more critical. So, I won't go into that whole thing, but, so yeah, partially my father, because, like I said, Dad was totally cool with, the self-expression and everything. So there you go. And also the other person is actually, I didn't know him. His mother is a dear friend of mine, though. Brandon Bittner. I heard about his death in 2010, and it's a story that profoundly affected me. First of all, the whole bullying issue, I think, has gotten like way out of control. These kids are just, kids are getting, I think, like crueler by the day, and I don't believe when people say, oh, you know what, it's part of growing up, you need to toughen up, you need to do that. I'm sorry, that's bullshit. Brandon Bittner was also everything that I've read about him, heard about him, and of course, like I said, his mother is a dear friend of mine now as well. He was an accomplished violinist. He was going to go to Juilliard. He was very creatively inclined as well, and his mom had no problem with his form of self-expression. I can't freaking talk. Expression. But he was relentlessly bullied in school, and he was 14. Relentlessly bullied to the point where on November 5th, 2010, he walked 7 miles from his house in the wee hours of the morning and walked in front of a tractor trailer and ended his life. That's severe. Any story of a young kid or, taking their own life is tragic anyways, but I remember that his story in particular, I would always remember it because I was like that. It was just so, I remember seeing videos of like talent shows that he was in, and my guy, he was really good, and I think that it's really heartbreaking to see someone who has so much talent, and he was a really accepting person. He was accepting of everybody else, but he didn't get that same, acceptance in return, which is heartbreaking, and that's pathetic that people can't, that everybody can't be that way. So it's really devastating to hear when someone so young takes their own life because of that. It's, I think that, him as well as a lot of young kids that have taken their own lives due to bullying deserves to be left alone to be who they are and to develop and to grow and to expand and everything, and they didn't get that chance. So yeah, bullying definitely is, it's a serious issue. But because of the way that he was very accepting of everyone and the way that he chose to express himself, creatively, I decided to dedicate the other part of the channel to his memory. So there you go. That's why, because I remember his story was one that just profoundly affected me. Because it's just, I mean, to be pushed to that point. So that's, I mean, that's about as much as I can say about it. It's, sometimes it's difficult for me. It's heartbreaking, and it's still, you know what, I still miss my dad. I miss my father every day. So, like I said, that hits an emotional chord for me on both levels. So hopefully that's a vast enough explanation. So that's about the best way that I can answer that. So there you go. It's funny that these questions are kind of, you know what, that they go hand in hand. I kind of wrote them down in just the order that I got them. But in regards to the last question, I was talking about, you know, self-expression and acceptance, and you know what, yeah, I do. Still, to this day. You know, I got it when I was in high school. And yeah, I'm 39 now, and yeah, I still get it. I still get the nasty looks, I'll get the nasty comments sometimes, but, and it used to, I mean, I'm not saying that it doesn't hurt now, it's just, I've kind of gotten to the point where, you know what, this is me, this is who I am, I'm going to look how I want to look. I'm the one that has to live with myself. Well, the only other one that has to deal with me directly is my husband. So he doesn't have a problem with it. We have friends that come from all different walks of life. Not all our friends, you know, look like me. My husband has twice the tattoos that I do. I'm not even as, I guess, severe looking as some of the people that we know. You know what, the way that I look at it is that people are ignorant to what they don't understand, and instead of trying to understand it or accept it, it becomes like a threat to them. So apparently they think that being an asshole and making a nasty comment is going to make them look better, or it makes them feel better about themselves. I think it makes them look like an asshole, but I also think that, you know what, what they're looking for in a lot of instances is they want you to respond. They want you to get pissed off about it. They want to break you down. They want you to get mad, and it's not worth it. They're not worth it. Focus on, you know what, the people that are in your life that do love you and that do accept you, and you know what, realize that, look, this is this is my style, and this is self-expression, and you know what, as long as you're a good person, you have a good heart, you're not hurting anybody else, and you know what, you accept other people, who gives a shit? That's what I try to remember, because it's just, it's too, if I let every single comment, every nasty comment, just break me down, you know, I'd be freaking miserable, honestly. So I refuse to live that way. I refuse to be ashamed of how I look. The way I see it, it's like, you know what, if you don't like it, don't look at it. I know not everybody thinks that way. You would think that people would be a lot more accepting, because, I mean, you know, it's 2014, you know, but no. There's people that, you know what, just think that it's, you know, it's good. It's fun for them to criticize others, or you know what, it makes them feel better about themselves. So you know what, the way that I deal with it is just, I try. I'm not saying always. I'm not saying that I haven't always bitten my tongue, but what I try to do, what I strive to do is just, you know what, think about like, okay, you know what, I'm glad that I'm not that way, and just aspire to never be that way. And also, you know what, it's not worth, they're not worth, you know, getting pissed off at. Don't let them piss you off. You know what, it's one person in a sea of many. So I try and let it roll off as much as possible, because like I said, this isn't a phase. This isn't like some keen fashion statement because I think I'm cool. This is just me. I couldn't be Jane freaking normal if I tried, and I wouldn't want to be. So there you go. That's the best way that I can deal with it. I have a low tolerance for jackasses though. So sometimes, yeah, I will admit it is hard for me to bite my tongue, because I mean, I don't think that anybody should be judged. But there's a lot of people that are extremely judgmental. I think it's, you know what, judge people by their actions and the way that they treat you. You know, and not by the way that you look. So, you know, because I'm sorry, Jane fucking Normal down the street could have, you know what, just like murdered a family of 5. You know, and then here's the freak over here that, you know, does makeup tutorials and busts her ass at work every day, and you know what I mean, just takes care of the cat's department, does tutorials, you know what I mean, and dyes her hair a bunch of different colors. Ooh, you know, so I mean, that's just an example, like in comparison. It's like you never know somebody's story until you walk a mile in their shoes. You never know who somebody is until you get to know them. So that's what I try and remember. It's just, you know what, I guess ignorance is bliss, and you know what, if you're content to be a rotten asshole, then you know what, all the more power to you. But that's not me, so I'm not, you know what, I do my damnedest to just, you know what, deal with it the best way I can. Just let it roll off. So there you go. I won't expand on that much more. I think you get the point. So there you go. Okay. I have to pick one. Well, I don't really get what you call starstruck. Gosh, I think if I have to pick one celebrity that I would like to meet, gosh. Okay. I'm just gonna say, Chad Gray. And if, those of you who don't know who Chad Gray is, I'm sure most of you do though, and if you don't, I think you should. But Chad Gray is the front man for Mudvayne and also Hell Yeah. I don't know, he just, I would like to meet Chad Gray and just like shake his hand and say, you know what, thank you for, you know, making the music that you do, and please keep on keeping on. And he just seems like he's like the like he doesn't have the kiss my ass because I'm a rock star attitude, you know, which I think is very admirable. It's a lot better when people are approachable. So, and I think a lot of people who do, you know what, they idolize someone or they admire someone, and it's like their favorite celebrity, their favorite band or whatever, and it's so devastating, like when they meet them, you know, like their favorite musician, and the person is an asshole to them. That's terrible. So he doesn't strike me as that kind of person, though. I'm not saying like, oh yeah, I just went and had coffee with him last week, but no, I mean, the interviews that I've seen with him and just his overall, I think, demeanor, that I see, it just, you know what, he just seems like, you know what, He is who he is, and he does what he does, and as long as people are enjoying it, there you go. So there you go. How many freaking times can I say there you go in one paragraph? I don't know. I counted twice so far, so. But, yeah, I think that would be one. Like I said, I had to pick one, so that would be one. Even though it came out in June, Hell Yeah's new album, Blood for Blood, love it. Absolutely love it. There's not one song on that whole album that I can honestly say, I don't like that song too much. So, yeah, it's just awesome. So maybe it's the fact that I'm like on this big Hell Yeah kick lately, but no, he just seems like, he's awesome. And also, I think because they will be celebrities one day, my friend Metabon, and I've talked about Metabon and the band Lockjaw before. They are from Wisconsin, and they're going to be celebrities one day, I hope. They really, seriously, because album after album, their new one, Combat Ready, was just released in October. So, I've known Metabon. He's been like a Facebook pal of mine, and for, gosh, going on 4.5, almost 5 years, and I've never met Metabon in person. I'd really like to meet Metabon someday, and shake his hand and be like, wow, all these years later, how are you, but it's just about, I think, people who are really approachable. If you feel like you can approach them, like I say, don't get starstruck, but yeah, I mean, it's a lot easier to approach somebody who just has that really mellow demeanor instead of somebody who's a little, just really uptight. Because I'm sorry, I don't care who you are or how much money you make, I'm not going to kiss your ass. Sorry. But, so yeah, that would be the one. And why? I kind of have explained why, kind of the explanation goes hand in hand. Like I said, it's hard for me to like I said, to really expand on that too much more, because like I said, I haven't met him, but, excuse me, I've always liked Mudvayne, and I like Hell Yeah a lot. So, I mean, we're talking about two totally different bands, but, he's a good front man. So, like I said, yeah, I'd like to meet him and shake his hand and just say, you know what, thank you, thanks a lot, nice to meet you, keep on keeping on. How much more of an explanation do you want for that one? There you go. And okay, and he's got pretty cool hair. I don't know, as freaking ignorant as that sounds, like, but there you go. Expanded on that about as much as I can, so moving. Okay, another good question, because there are a few. When I first started, I had a channel before I started this one, and it was just, I never thought that I was really what you would call camera shy, but having your picture taken and then actually sitting in front of the camera, filming yourself doing tutorials and whatnot, yeah, it's a completely different thing. So, actually ended up shutting that channel down. Just wasn't happy with it, wasn't real comfortable. I got real nervous on camera. My voice shook a lot, and it was obvious. So with this one, when I decided to start this one, I just told myself, you know what? I'm not going to give up on it, because, I regretted shutting down the last one, so it's like, okay, you know what? Don't make the same mistake twice. So, some of the obstacles, definitely self-confidence. Believe in yourself and your ability, and realize, okay, you cannot worry about what everybody else thinks, because you can please some of the people some of the time, and all the people some of the time, but there's no way you're going to please all the people all the time. So, ultimately, you have to be happy with what you're doing, and have faith in yourself and your ability, and that was one obstacle, is just keeping that in mind, like not worrying about what everybody else is going to think of this tutorial and so on and so forth. It's like, okay, you know what, I like this tutorial, I know I can pull this off, I'm going to do this. So the self-confidence level and faith in yourself are definitely two of them. Another one is patience. You got to have patience. Instantaneous, you know, success with the YouTube channel and everything would be fantastic. I mean, I would love to, you know, have thousands of subscribers, but you know what? I know YouTube is such a huge community. There's, you think about all the YouTube videos, all the people that use YouTube worldwide, there's like 40,000 YouTube videos uploaded every minute. I know there's other makeup artists out there that have been doing it a lot longer than I have, and have a lot more videos than I do. So, you know what? It's not like, as much as I would love to have, you know, a lot of subscribers and, you know, a lot of page likes in like a matter of a couple weeks, I gotta have patience, and I know that that's not gonna happen. It would be great. I'm just happy to be at the level that I am, you know, as long as the tutorials are getting views and people are enjoying them, and they're not just, people are watching them, and it's not, I'm not talking about like just people that I'm friends with and people that I know. So that's awesome. That's an awesome feeling, like somebody's watching it, and you know what, if it inspires somebody else, or they like the look, or they like the music, or they like anything about it, then that's, you know what, my job is done. So just having that patience, like, okay, keep working at it. You know, instantaneous success will be awesome, but I can't get frustrated if it doesn't happen. It'll happen, but you know what, I have a ways to go. You know, I haven't had this new channel that long, so just keep on keeping on. So patience, definitely. Not getting frustrated. So that's another one, because that was, I think, one of the worst things that took me down with the previous channel, is I would just get frustrated way too easily. So tea, gotta stay hydrated. So pardon me. It's also, it's, you know, it's talking about my ability, expanding on my ability. I look at the tutorials from back then as opposed to now, and I have expanded a lot. So the more you do something and the more that you work at something, obviously the better that you're going to get. So it's just, you know, squashing the frustration and, you know, keep on keeping on again. Had to, you know, have to be patient, have to trust my ability, have to have self-confidence, and you know what, it has happened. I don't have any problem talking in front of the camera now. So most of the time it's like I find myself sometimes in tutorials having to, you know, look at the camera and be like, oh yeah, I'm using this, holding up the brush and the product or whatever, because sometimes I'll forget that the camera's there. Which isn't a bad thing. So it's like just not focusing on like that little lens that's like constantly recording. So realize that you're only human, that you do make mistakes, and don't be overcritical of yourself. That's another one, because I tended to be really overcritical about every little freaking thing. And I was driving myself crazy. It's like, you know, I'm like this, you know, we're looking at a tutorial that was I had a really good idea in my head, and I did it, and you know what, I think in reality it wasn't that bad, but I was so overcritical of myself. I just would nitpick every little freaking thing about it, and I'd be like, okay, you know what, this is shit, I don't even want to post this now. So, gotten way past that point, thankfully, to just realize, okay, you know what, there's room for mistakes. you can fix them. You can start the video over or record a part over or so on and so forth. It's not the end of the world. So yeah, those are just some of the obstacles. And I'm happy to say that they are things that I have overcome and I have expanded on. So I'm just, you know, happy and content with, you know, the progress that I have made and the things that I have overcome. And looking forward to doing more because I'm planning on sticking with it. So it's something. This is a really good outlet for me. This is something that I really enjoy. Like I said, I get to do the type of makeup that I want to do and bring all these looks to life. Try a lot of things that, you know what, step outside the box. Try things I've never tried before. You know what? It's awesome. And it's awesome getting compliments on them. It's awesome getting compliments on the photos or the looks that I post. I love it. That's awesome. And like I said, getting views on them, and you know what? I'm expanding in my makeup ability and stuff, so you know what? What more could I ask for? So, there you go. That's about the last... Oh, God. Even when I'm not doing a tutorial, I swear, the nose itch. Like, my nose will just start itching. Out of freaking nowhere. Oh, that's so irritating. But anyway, that's the last of the questions. And again, thank you to everyone who contributed. I really appreciate it. You guys asked some really good questions. I hope that the answers weren't too haphazard for you and I didn't over-explain things too terribly much. So that's just that, you know what, the best and most honest answers. Yeah, so just gotta stay true to myself and keep doing what I'm doing. So I'll be back with 2 more tutorials. I'm not even gonna say what day. Obscene Jester should be, I'm planning on filming that one tomorrow. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I hope you enjoy this vlog, and please, you know what, if you like it, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. I will put the link to my Facebook page and my Pinterest. I am no longer on Twitter. I'm sorry, Twitter just really wasn't, I don't know, Twitter at this point in time is not real beneficial to me. So I kind of dropped the whole Twitter thing for now anyway. So Facebook and Pinterest is where you can find me, and I'll put the links to both those pages in the description box below. I was about to say with a complete list of all the products that I used today, but I was just like, okay, iced tea by Lipton, cigarettes by Pall Mall, zombie slippers, Amazon.com. There you go. Hair dye, Manic Panic, and special effects. That pretty much says it all. So thank you for watching. Have an awesome Friday night. Have an awesome weekend. I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Good night. Bye.